Hey everybody, I'm casting this little teeny tiny tiki character in low temperature metal. It's a necklace pendant to be worn by this mug made by my friend Crazy Al Evans. Link to his website is down below. This video is brought to you by my Patreon. If you want to support the channel, the link is also down below. And thanks so much to everyone who has already signed up. Al sculpted this piece, cast it in resin, and gave it to me to make in metal. So let's make the silicone mold. I'll be using my standard process, which is mix the rubber, de-air the rubber, then pour the mold from the bottom up. The rising rubber will push out all the air and we should get a bubble-free casting. This is a super simple cut job. All of the vents are running up the back, so I only have to make one vertical cut straight down the middle of the back to free the part. Whenever you have a hole in a part like this, you have to be sure to cut through the hole, and you do this by stretching the rubber so that it can be cut on one side of the hole. When the rubber snaps back, the cut will be in the middle of the hole. Simple, but brilliant. Whenever you pour molten metal into a silicone mold, you have to preheat the mold. I do this in my ultra high-tech industrial autoclave. It's actually just an old toaster oven. I always tent the mold with aluminum foil so that the elements on top don't cook the rubber. You want the mold to be evenly heated, but you sure don't want to burn it. I can't remember the last time I poured pot metal, so I don't own a crucible or any other fancy apparatus to melt the metal in. Fortunately, the temperatures are low enough so that a regular old tuna fish can will suffice. You don't need an acetylene torch. A simple propane torch that you can get from any hardware store is more than hot enough. Before you melt the metal, it's important to heat the can hot enough to burn off the coating inside the can. That's the stuff that insulates the food from the actual metal. Fine steel works well to make sure that you get all the coating out of the can. You really don't want any pollutants or particles in your metal casting. The can is obviously way too hot to hold, so I repurposed a handle using a long-nosed vice grip, and it served the function most admirably. The mold is hot. The special tuna crucible is ready to go. Now it's time to cut some chunks off the metal ingot. I started out by using a hacksaw, which proved to be way more of a hassle than I was going to put up with. My bandsaw cuts aluminum with ease, so I figured it could do easily well with pot metal. And sure enough, worked like a champ. Even though the mold is hot, rubber bands will still work fine to hold it together during the pour. I insulated the mold while I melted the metal, but I'm not sure that was even necessary. It takes quite a while for the silicone to cool once you get it good and hot. Plus, the metal melted really fast, and when you pour it into the mold, it's very different than pouring resin. It's so much heavier than resin that it just falls into the mold and pushes out all the air. It's like, woo, it's just almost instantaneous. It's really fun to cast with. And the casting just pops out and it's flawless. No bubbles at all. Knowing how easily the metal cut on the bandsaw, I figured I could use my scroll saw to remove the vents from the back. That works well, but it was a bit slow for cutting the figure off the much thicker sprue. That was easier and faster on the bandsaw. Because you guys might not have those tools, I tried cutting it by hand with a hacksaw and also with a little rotary cutter mounted in a Dremel, and both of those methods worked fine. Power tools don't necessarily do the job better than hand tools, they just make it go faster. I love these sanding twigs. I use them for a lot of things, and it turns out they were great on pot metal. The belt sander was also excellent for cleanup. I used it to flatten the bottom of his feet. I cast up a bunch of them and gave them to Al to clean up. And here's our boy, strung and hung and looking good. Hey, thanks for watching. If you like this video, watch this video next. And if you got value from this video and you want to support the channel, check out my Patreon. The link is down below. Each mug is unique, and Al is holding an auction to sell them. If you want to put in a bid, check out the link below. Thanks for watching. I'll see you in the next video.